Today we're going to attempt to make this wallet. This was my first attempt ever using this style rivet. It was a lot trickier than I expected it to be. For a first attempt at doing this wallet and using these rivets, I wouldn't say that I'm unhappy with it, but I definitely learned a lot along the way, and I am excited to do it again, because now I think I've found better ways to do it and things that I would rather do differently. And yeah, let's get into it. I got this pattern from Maize Leather. I don't often buy patterns or download them. I typically make my own. This was something that I wanted to try out. He had a free one, and so I decided we'll get it and then just make it our own. I always feel bad just copying other people's stuff. So here's the templates. I wasn't really a big fan of the V, so I did my typical radius on it. And let's just see how it goes. So let's jump into it. Here we're laying out the card pocket, just laying out the first one here. As I was saying, I don't typically buy or get patterns from other people. I'll typically just make my own. In this project here, what I wanted to do was the card pocket actually had the deep V, and I wasn't really a big fan of that. So I just did a radius like I typically do the rest of my card pockets. Here I am cutting out that V. I don't know what happened to the microphone, so I'm trying to do like a voiceover here, and I guess we'll see how this goes. I kind of wanted to do it where almost more like an Adam Savage style, where I'd record and then kind of talk to the camera and then keep recording. And I actually found that really difficult. I don't know why. Like, it's a lot more difficult than it seems to be. What I was just doing there was just radiusing the inside corners of the card pocket, because once it's all together I won't be able to do that. Me being me, I decided to change up the plan, and instead of just finishing the pockets, now I want to lay everything out and cut it out all at once. I don't know what happened to the camera. I don't know why it's looking at the wall instead of looking at the actual cutting mat. One thing at a time. That's the main goal here right now. Just before recording this, I actually went and installed a bunch of new lights in where I'm doing the stuff. Oh look, I just figured out that the camera was off, and I did not make it much better. Well, that's okay. Like I said, one thing at a time. So making this video here was as much, yes, I wanted to make a video, I also wanted to see how the new lights looked. Really does not look all that much different. So did a lot more work on it since recording this video. I was just finishing the radiuses on the corners there, and then I used my little Dremel tool to clean up the edges. I'll hit it with some sandpaper a little bit later. Now I'm back to laying out that middle card pocket. Just cut it down to the rough shape, then I'll do all the fine tuning afterwards. This is the back pocket where where you'll actually put your bills, receipts, things like that. while doing this here, I wanted to lay out, and I was going to radius all the corners on the back card pocket, or the bill pocket, sorry, because I've thought that this was going to lay out a lot better, and I'm saying this right now, where I could cut these and then everything was going to sit where it was supposed to, and then I could just transfer the cuts to the rest of the pieces. But what I discovered later is by doing that, the rivets got kind of in the way. Of course, I'm jumping ahead. Oh, here I'm talking about how I'm left-handed and how cutting tools and scissors and all that don't typically work for left-handed people, and how what I'm saying is that I should start a company making left-handed tools only. I think it's a very niche market, and I'm going to go for bankruptcy. I'm just hitting this here with a number 2 edge beveler. Now I'm hitting it with some sandpaper. Just trying to get any of the flyaways and get a little bit more consistent. I find that when you take some sandpaper and then put the toconol on, the edges will stay a lot longer. They don't deteriorate and you get all the nasty flyaways. I decided I didn't want to stain this one this time, because being the first time that I'm making it, I don't like to spend a lot of time doing the fine-tuning details, because if I make it and it doesn't go right and it looks off, then or the pattern doesn't work, whatever, then I'm not wasting so much time, and I'm not wasting the dye and whatever else that I would put on it. Of course, I fixed the camera, and now you're looking at a bunch of nothing. I'm just going to clamp the template up to the pieces that I've cut, so then I can transfer all those holes with a center punch nicely. Picked up this new center punch kit that I'm checking. I want to see if it's going to work nicely. Make sure that it's going to be the right size for the rivet, and of course it's way too big. So I'm going to go back to the other center punch that I have. It's just a multi-tool one where the heads pop out. So you only have one handle but multiple heads. Nice little thing, it's pretty convenient. Just going to go through this process on all the card pockets, the main back panel. When I was doing this, there was a few different rivet holes that I found didn't really line up all that well. I don't know what the intent behind it was, so I just used just the 6 for the cards, and then just sorry, yeah, 6 for the cards, and then 6 on the back panel. If I was smart and I was better at this, then I would have edited this out so that you only saw maybe a couple of the pieces, not all of the pieces. But that's okay, because you know what? It's all about learning. I had a friend that used to tell me, every time that you do something, just try to do it 1% better than you did the last time you made it. And that's the way that I try to do everything now. Between that and my great grandpa, he always used to say that just try to be the best you that you could be. And as long as you can do that, then really nothing else matters. Here I am just trying to line up all the pockets and the panels together. Not really understanding how this is going. So what I start to do here quickly is I start to put all of the rivets in, and then that's just going to hold everything in place so I can make sure that I know what I'm actually trying to hold together. Make sure that all my pieces are in alignment. I started by putting the back panel, where your actual bills would go. I put that on upside down, so the cards would enter one way, but then the bills would enter from the bottom, which was obviously not right. You can see here I'm starting to figure it out. Slowly but surely. There was definitely a better way to put all these rivets in. Here I am grinding down some of the flats on the rivets because they're the ones on the corners for the back panel and the card panel are actually interfering with one another because they have to go almost side by side. Moving forward, now knowing that's what needs to happen, I would actually do them completely different. But I do talk about that at the end of the video. You know, I don't know how people do this. You watch guys like Bourbon Moth, Jason Hibbs, and he'll make a 25-minute video and he just rambles and goes on and on and on. It's super easy for him. I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know how to just keep talking. Here I am, I'm putting the middle panel together and the card sleeves together. I'm gonna rivet those on, and then I'll finish by riveting the back panel on. Set 1, set 2. Trying to avoid the rivets that go through the backside. Oh, wow. And look at that. Just like that, it's done. Got all the washers synced down on them. Got some side cutters, cutting these down, cutting the excess posts off. While cutting these, I'd never done this style, so I cut it probably 3/8 of an inch long, and then realized, well, that is most definitely way too long. Now I'm working on putting the bill pocket on. Again, just setting the rivets down, putting the flat washers on, pressing them on. Right about now, I'm telling you guys that I'm going to have to get going here pretty quick. So I'm just going to try to get all these riveted on. But of course, by the help of movie magic, you guys aren't even going to notice that I left. And yes, I do tell you that both in the video and in the voiceover. See? Look at that. Now I'm back. Got a different shirt on. I'm talking to you guys about how I'm not a fan of the gaps on where the rivets aren't sitting. I'm trying to use that setter tool. There's a little dimple section where you can actually set, like start the set of the rivet. Couldn't figure out how that was to work. Then I realized that these are cut way too long. So I'm just going back through. Probably help if I had a better hammer. Or different hammer. To be honest, I don't really know. Trying to beat them all around. Now we're just sinking the rivets on the front side here. Again, cut them way too long, so using those side cutters just to cut them down. Give it a little tappy tap with the hammer. On the front side, pretty well done. Just trying to see how it's all going to fold up on itself and look. Trying to cut these corners here so that all the radiuses match, and then I realized that because of how big those rivets are, they don't. So pull out the Dremel and Dremel the corners, Dremel the edges to make sure they look flush. If I was smart, I would have seen this earlier and I would have cut a bunch of it out. Instead, now you're going to get to watch it all. Oh, just kidding. I did. I'm really unhappy with the sides not like just being all floppy. So at this point I decide I'm going to glue all the edges together. That was probably part of the original plan, but there was no instructions. It was just kind of flying by the seat of my pants, which I mean is totally fine. Seeing where I want to go with it, seeing how I want to do things differently. Part of the life that I grew up in and the culture I grew up in, it's always what you're looking for. How you can take somebody's idea and turn it your own. Just letting it set up there, playing with it a little bit now. I don't know what I'm doing. Apparently we're just hanging out. Just gonna touch these corners again. Just trying to get any of the glue residue off or anything that I couldn't get to sit flat. I'm telling you, I'm working on this laptop from like 2012. I mean, just goes to show how good Apple is, but it's killing me trying to make these videos. One main goal for this year is trying to upgrade how we do things here and what it is that we're doing. I just hit the edges with the edge beveler there, number 2 edge beveler. Now I'm going to hit all the exposed edges with the tokenol. This is why I did those inside edges earlier, because once it's all glued up and riveted or stitched together, you can't do them afterwards. And even though that they're on the inside and you're not going to see them unless the wallet's open, you still don't want it to be fraying and going all funny. I saw a Mascon likes to use a cloth when applying the tokenol. Wanted to try that out here on this as well. Now we're just going to take a little bit of neat's foot, put it on a paper towel, get a little moisture back into that leather. Just going to rough up that leather a little bit as I put on the neat's foot. And right about now is when the mic starts to work. Thank y'all. Please do like and subscribe. Alright, so final thoughts. I don't think it's terrible for my first attempt doing a style like this. There's definitely a lot of things that I would change and I would have done differently. First of all, I wouldn't have put these this way. What I would rather see done is I would rather these all go all the way through. So then you can just sit from the one side, it's nice and flat, and you can rivet it all. I would move all of the corner ones in a little bit, like in towards the center of the pockets, down, because on the back side here, it's overhanging. You know, it doesn't look all that great. I would glue the entire thing together first. I think what I would do is I would actually punch these two pieces, you know, the card pockets and the middle sleeve, if you will, and I would glue the seams up, put them all together, and just rivet it all at, or punch all the holes and rivet it all at once, and then glue this back panel to the rest of the body, clamp it back up, punch all the holes. I think that would work way better and it would come out way cleaner. You know, it's not the best. I'll be the first one to say that. But I'm not super disappointed with it. If you have any suggestions on how I could do this differently and how I could do it better, please down below leave it in the comments. If you like this new style of what I'm doing, please give me a thumbs up. You know, refer your friends. I really appreciate all of it. This is just kind of a fun thing for me to do, but you know, when I see that people are interacting, then it gives me a little bit more motivation to want to continue it. Alright, thank you very much.